Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. We're waiting for everybody else to join back again. Okay. Okay, while we're waiting, could you guys turn on your cameras, please? Okay. Right, okay. Let me start with the Once you hear your name, please sound off. Okay, Karam Almagut.
Yes, I'm here.
Nur Sultan Askar Bekuli.
I'm here.
Imre Alberto Delgado Villanueva.
I am here.
G.
I'm here.
Okay. Anton Yegorov.
I'm here.
Shahista Ergasheva.
Hello, I'm here.
Yosef Yosri Nasser Ibrahim.
Yes, I'm here.
Robiul Islam.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Sirajuddin Kamolov.
Yes, I'm here.
Emmanuel Luele.
I'm here.
Victor Masague Respol. Swati Mega.
Yes, I'm here.
Ruslan Plitnев.
I'm here.
Manuel Alejandro Rodriguez Osuna.
I'm here.
Hamza Salem.
I'm here.
Sami Salami.
Present.
Arslan Siddiq.
Yes, I'm here.
Valeria Skvortsova.
I'm here.
Okay. Javier Antonio Vasquez Zelada.
I'm here.
Vladimir Antipov.
I'm here.
Dmitry Popov.
I'm here.
Anastasia Puzanкова.
I'm here.
Okay. Thank you so much. Your attendance has been marked. Here's the plan for today. We're going to start with the exercise, with the academic vocabulary exercises. We're going to check those. I will answer any questions that you might have. Then you'll have your quiz 2 on glossary 2. Then we'll talk about the research essay. I will speak about the structure of the essay. I will answer any questions that you might have about that. And we will we'll do some practice on the essay structure. That's the plan for today. So why don't we start with the exercise? That's academic vocabulary 2 exercise. Could you open it for me, and we're going to check that and discuss it. Right. We're going to start with 39.1, and I'm giving you the correct answers for 39.1, and then I will answer any questions that you might have. Please check. So 31.1, One is purpose or aim. Two, concerned. Three, aim or purpose. Four, consists. Five, address. Six, devoted. Seven, divided. And eight, focus. Please ask me questions.
What is the difference between purpose and aim?
Basically, there is no difference. Strictly speaking, those two words, well, they come from different languages. So purpose is, well, purpose comes from French, from Latin actually, via French. So purpose is like fancier as compared to aim. Other than that, those are the same. Aim is purely Germanic. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. And we had was one of our answers to address a number of questions. What if we, like, I put pose there instead of addressing, like to pose a number of questions?
To pose a number of general questions relating to children literature. The meaning will be changing. You know, once, if you address the question, you pose the question and then you answer it. So when you pose a question, you just ask those questions without providing the response to those. So I believe once we're speaking about the thesis, I understand it would be more appropriate to use address. Because, you know, a thesis implies that you're not only posing a question, but you're trying to provide an answer to those. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on 39.1?
Sorry, you said for the sixth one, devoted. I think it shouldn't be devoted to. I mean, it should be devoted just or devoted to.
If you take a look at the sentence, gap 6, you would see that there's words specifically right after devoted, and there's that particle to. So it is devoted specifically to. Okay, so you got a modifier after the verb. But other than that, you're totally right. It's devoted to.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on 39.1?
Yeah, I have a same question for this 6. So I put up a focus specifically. So part 2 and 3 and 4 are with a focus specifically to the Soviet examples. Is that correct, or is an alternative answer, or it is fully wrong for the focus?
Right. Unfortunately, it would not be correct. You cannot use focus for 6 because you focus on something. Okay, but the preposition that you have is to, not on. So you cannot use focus in gap 6, unfortunately. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on 39.1? By the way, guys, have you heard about a combinatory dictionary? Well, a combinatory dictionary is a dictionary which shows combinations of different words. So when you're in doubt about what to use, like focus to or focus on, you can refer to that combinatory dictionary. There are lots of those, and I like to use BBI combinatory dictionary. It's probably more convenient as compared to Googling combinations. So you could use a combinatory dictionary to see how the words combine in a phrase, to see collocations, as the linguistic term is. Right. So shall we move on? Okay. 39.2. We got questions in 39.2, and I would want you to answer those, okay? So question number one, Javier, could you?
The question number 1 is, which of Tolstoy novels was published on 60s? So the answer is War and Peace.
War and Peace, perfect, thank you. And number 2, Sultan. Before or after?
So number 2, more precise data can be found in the table 3 below. So below means after.
That's after, totally, thank you. Number 3, Ruslan.
Number 3 answer is no. The answer did not. The writer did not discuss country's economic situation before.
Right. Thank you, Arslan. I actually wanted Ruslan to answer that, but that's okay. Thank you. Okay, number 3 is no, and the number 4, Ruslan. Could you do number 4?
The brothers Olaf and Eric would go on to become professors of archaeology and Greek, respectively. Which brother taught archaeology? Olaf.
Olaf, totally. Thank you. And please do not read the question, just the answer.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
That's okay. No problem at all. And number 5, G. Could you do number 5, please?
Number 5, it's before.
Before. Thank you so much. Please ask me questions on 39.2. All right, we move on. 39.3, and I'm giving you the correct answers, after which I will answer any questions that you might have. So 1 is take, 2, firstly, 3, addresses, 4, below, 5, following, 6, see, 7, consider, and 8, later. Please ask me questions.
So in the second sentence, in order to choose at first, we should have comma after it, right? The only difference is in that, or do we have other difference?
Actually, comma is not the only, comma is not the only difference. The meaning is different with at first and firstly. Shahista, do you see the difference between at first and firstly?
I don't know why, but I have chosen it first. So maybe you could give a little bit definition.
Okay, at first is, well, at first means that you wanted to do something, but then you change your mind. Like at first I wanted to discuss the nature of the 16th century English, but then I decided to discuss the nature of the 20th century Spanish.
Okay.
So that's at first. But when you say firstly, you're just giving the list, the number in a list.
Okay, thank you.
So here the correct answer would be firstly.
Mm-hmm.
Please ask me some other question.
Sorry, Professor, about sentence number 3.
Yep.
Addresses. Why why no devote?
Well, first of all, you need, if you use devote, you will need that preposition too.
Okay.
You devote something to something. So the usage is different. You do not have that to preposition here, so you cannot use devote.
It means we can't add preposition by myself to complete the sentence. I mean, if we have now to, it means we can choose devote.
Unfortunately,
I mean,
no, unfortunately, you cannot add anything as per the task. The task was choose the correct word in italics to complete each sentence. So, strictly speaking, no, you cannot add things. It's all about combinations, you know. Any other questions on 39.3? All right, let's take a look at the last one. That's 39.4. I'm going to give you the correct answers, all right, and then we will discuss it. So number 1, for as table 5 shows, you had to write as can be seen in table 5. Number 2, instead of section 2, you should have written the preceding section. Number 3, at this point. Number 4 is divided into. And number 5, that'll be turn to. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that the correct answer for number 1 uses passive, which might be not very effective. So the original variant might be preferable here. So as table 5 shows is much better as compared as can be seen in table 5. Please ask me questions.
You said what's the answer for number 5?
Number 5 is, let us now turn to the issue of the reunification of Germany. That's turn to.
Okay.
Excuse me, Professor, what's the answer for the third one?
Number 3, at this point,
okay,
let us turn our attention to developments in Constantinople.
Okay, thank you.
Please ask me some other questions. Okay, if you don't have any other questions, I think that'll be all for your home assignment. And you're going to have your quiz now.
Professor, I have a small question before we start. Sorry, yes,
go
I have a small question regarding. Well, it's regarding the material you sent us and the academic vocabulary number 2. For example, in the openings, the number 2 it says to be concerned with, and then in as a small definition we have to be about something. Is that correct, or should be to be concerned about something?
You mean the glossary, right?
Yes, it's in the second.
Let me take a look. Right. Just a second. Right. Yeah, to be concerned with, to be about something. Yeah, to be about something is a phrase, is a more spoken phrase.
Yeah. Okay.
As compared to be concerned with. So it's just a definition to make sure that you understand the phrase to be concerned with if if you're not familiar with it.
Fine. And in that same document, exactly in the section of referring to examples, diagrams, pages, etc., 26, there this part of look at for information. This construction of look at for, is that correct, or it has or there's some typo there?
Yeah, there's no typo. It's like okay. The first phrase "look at" shows where to look. Okay, and for information shows the purpose. Why looking? So you look at something for something.
So this construction does exist. Okay.
Yeah, it does exist. The only thing is that in real life you will have to add an object between at and for. Look at page 6 for
okay, now okay. Yep, I understand.
Please ask me some other questions.
Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, the link to the quiz is on Moodle. I'm also sending the link to your Telegram group. I'm going to open it now, and then you'll have 10 minutes.
Sorry, Professor, by the link which you send us to Telegram, say that the quiz is closed for answers.
Yeah, I'm opening it now. It's open now.
Okay.
Please try again. Guys, make sure that you can access the quiz. If you can, please write. Okay, can everybody access the quiz?
Sure, yeah, it works.
All right, your 10 minutes, they start now. You got 5 minutes left. You got 3 minutes left. In 3 minutes, I'm stopping the quiz. I'm stopping the quiz in a minute. I'm stopping the quiz now. The quiz has been stopped. Right, the next step for us is to talk about the research essay. The research essay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask question related to the quiz?
Try to.
I'm still getting confused by the two terms, like to tend and to focus. In the first question, we had something, we now tend to the question of which model provides a better explanation. And can we also put focus there?
Okay, let me see. Which question is that once again?
The first one.
Actually, the order is, being mixed. So the order is different
okay.
every
It's
time.
like we now dash to the question of which model provides a better explanation of the phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Right, we now dash to the question of which model provides. You cannot use forecast here because of the tool. You forecast something, you cannot use preposition after forecast.
Okay, so to use forecast, what could we remove, or it's really not appropriate to use it there?
It's really not appropriate here, unfortunately. So since you got two right after the gap, you will have to have a verb that can be combined with that preposition.
Okay, so examples of you cannot focus on. What are the examples of focusing and writing at this point?
Excuse me?
Like the example of focusing, you focus on a diagram, or you focus on text, or you focus on...
Oh, right. You focus on something.
Not on a question.
No. I mean, you can focus on the question, but here you got two. So
okay.
You cannot really use focus here.
Okay.
And one more thing. Yeah, sorry. The last question of the first set is giving me an error, even if I wrote the same as it shows in the answer. The dissertation is concerned.
Let me check. What was your answer?
Concerned. It's showing me the same answer, but it just took it as wrong.
Okay, let me check your submission. All right, Shahista, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I will take that into account. I mean, I will give you that question. That question will be considered as correct, and the same thing would be true to any other to any other people if you had issues like that. I don't really know why it happens. Right. And I also have a question from Valeria. She says that most of her questions were not taken because she used a capital letter. Guys, please be attentive. The instructions clearly said do not use capital letters. Valeria, I'm going to give you this one, but next time, please please read the instructions carefully.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other concerns on the quiz?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, Karam, go ahead.
The first question, I had a table. Like I wrote I instead of E in the devoted. Is it considered as a wrong answer?
So what's the question once again?
In my answer, I wrote I instead of E in the word devoted.
Unfortunately, that would not be correct. Has to have E.
Yes.
And Swati?
Yeah, I want to ask about same as G, difference between like focus and address. So there was this question, this research will address the issue of big data. So can we use this research will focus on the issue of big data?
See, the thing is that you can only write one word. Okay, it was in the instructions.
Okay.
So technically, you cannot.
Okay, but not now in maybe in
But
general.
other than that, see, the meaning is different. Focus on and address something. Okay, there's that slight difference in meaning. When you focus on something, you like have several objects on your mind. Okay, and you've decided to start with this one, to focus on this one. Okay, like you're starting with this one, and then you will discuss all the other objects after that. Okay, but when you address something, you're saying that you're going to find the solution for something. Like you're addressing the question. If you're addressing the question, it means that you have the question and you're planning to get the answer for that. If you're addressing the problem, it means that you're looking for the ways to solve the problem.
Okay, so focus necessarily do not mean that we are going to find some solution.
No, you're just saying that you're going to concentrate on something, but you're not saying that you will get the solution. Was I able to explain that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So may
Yeah, go ahead.
ask also about the same example, the research will here, as understood, we cannot use consider by the same reasons that it's not have a meaning of finding a solution.
See, the thing is, you cannot use consider because consider implies an animated door. Okay, a human being. So like a researcher can consider, but the research cannot consider. Okay, because it's not animated. Therefore, you cannot say this researcher will consider the issue of big data.
Okay, thank
you. Was I able to explain?
Yeah.
All right. Again, guys, that combinatory dictionary is probably your go-to. All right. I mean, I understand that you would that you cannot use it for quizzes, but for your writing, be sure to do that. But then again, you can always Google it. It's much more difficult, but it works. Any other questions?
Yes, Professor, I have a question. You told us that it's recommendable or it's highly recommendable to avoid this passive construction, for example. But in the book and the material you gave us, they're actually encouraging to use it, and not just encouraging. They are showing you the structure of how to manage exactly this type of sentences. Who should we listen to, or should we use it, but or less regularly, or what would be your recommendation in this case?
Right. Actually, the use of passive is rather controversial. Like if you take a look at Chicago style manual, for example, Okay, the Chicago style manual will say that passive voice nearly always is inferior to active voice. All right. So basically, if you have a chance to use the active construction, an active phrase, do so. All right. You might want to use passive for 4 reasons. Reason number 1 is that you do not know who did the action, like the person was killed. Basically, there's no other way of saying that. You can technically you can say somebody killed the person, but when you use passive voice, you're implying that the doer of the action is unknown. That's number 1. Number 2, you want to hide the doer of the action. A perfect example here is mistakes were made, or mistakes have been made. You don't really want to you don't want to get punished. Therefore, you're not saying I made a mistake. You're saying you're saying the mistakes have been made. That's reason number 2. That's case number 2. Case number 3, it's more of a tradition actually. Passive voice is acceptable when you're describing research methods. Like the experiments have been conducted within some framework and so on and so forth. But once again, this is a convention, and you can safely say we conducted the experiment, and your sentence would be more effective that way. So this is like case number 3. And
number 4?
Case number 4 is you can use passive voice for diversity.
Diversity?
Yeah, for example, if you have a paragraph, and if you're describing research methods, for example, okay, if you're resorting to the first person use, like we conducted the experiment, we found out, we decided that, like you had 3 sentences in a row starting with we, which can be rather tiresome for your reader. If that is the case, you can resort to passive. But once again, you might want to use passive sparingly. Okay, be very careful with passive. So those are 4 cases when passive is acceptable. But generally speaking, try to avoid passive.
But this is just a convention, right? Or it's acceptable? I mean, the use of these 4 cases. The first case is if you don't know who did the action. The second one, you want to hide the person who did the action. The third one is the research methods, when describing them. And the last one is the diversity. These all 4 points. This is a convention or generally accepted in this case to use passive voice?
Well, I should say it's a generally accepted convention. If that makes it any easier for you. Say it's all about making your text readable and easy for your reader. And once again, there's that old school which said keep on using passive voice because it's the way researchers write. But it should be avoided in the 21st century because we got lots and lots of information and nobody is going to read your text if it is abundant in passive voice. It's just, people will read something else. There will be other articles. You don't really want that scenario to happen.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we start the research essay structure?
Professor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
About firstly, at first. I was inattentive, and at first, it means always at the beginning, or it has another meaning? Once
again, first and firstly is the same. But if you use firstly or first, you have to be consistent and then use second or secondly. So what I'm saying is that you have to use firstly, secondly, thirdly, or first, second, third. Do not go with first, secondly, and third. Okay? That's number 1. And number 2, at first and first. Shahista, could you explain the difference between those 2? At first and firstly.
Okay. So firstly is just when you want to talk about something first and then changed your mind and started to talk about something else. Or it was at first. Sorry, it was at first. At first.
Okay. Right. So you use at first when you want to say something, when you want to write something, but then you change your mind. Like at first, I wanted to speak about the experiment, but then I decided to discuss literature review. That's at first. Okay. And first is just giving the succession, giving the number, showing the first item on the list. That's first. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
The problem is that in Russian we're using one and the same word for both scenarios.
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of tricky.
Actually, I have the same issue, the same question about in my quiz. I got the question about, for example, it said, first, I would like to discuss the nature of artificial intelligence, and that's why I suppose to put at first, because at first it means and then, but I mean here is the difference between first and at first.
Okay, okay. I have to say that you got trapped.
Okay. Yes.
Thing is, if you take a look, right? Let me show you my screen.
Yeah, because here in these sentences, I just confused about then. I mean, started from at first, for example, and then. That's why I put it at first instead of first.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, this one.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So.
Yeah, I confused about that.
You've got and then.
And then, right? Yes, and then.
Right. You would be right if the sentence went like, at first I wanted to discuss the nature of AI, and then I decided not to.
Yeah, I see.
Okay,
yes,
so it is about changing the intention. But here you've got the succession, you got the list. Okay, so basically, and then replaces second. So
yeah, exactly.
The meaning of the the meaning of this phrase is, first I would like to discuss the nature of AI, and second I would like to discuss the impact that machine learning has on its development.
Sure, yes. Okay, thank you. Because when I first time look at these sentences and I saw and then, I supposed, okay, let's put it first. Yeah, okay,
right.
Thank you.
It was a trap, I should say.
Thank you.
And you got busted. Sorry about that. All right, any other comments, or shall we continue with the research essay?
Hello. So I have a question regarding module for this website. So some assignment are not submitted. It said that it overdue, but actually file is submitted. So I submitted, but it's not shown. So it's called that not draft not submitted, but the file also has a shown that there was a file.
Okay, did you press the button twice?
Yeah. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So my question was in the module section, the website, Innopolis module. So that website, so I submit submit that agreement or the homework, but it said that it's not submitted. I can show you that I submitted before, but this time called assignment is overdue in 7 days, but there was a file, and file is shown also.
Well, if the file is there, you should be okay.
So there was a file, but some assignment show that submitted, some say it is not submitted. Right, and those are not submitted. It state that time remaining is overdue by 7 days, some by 2 days. So that's the problem.
Okay, I will take a look at that. But
actually,
Yeah, Shahista.
Actually, there is a possibility to resubmit the file. So when you submit the file, upload the file, you need to submit it once more. You have edit submission and submit. You need to press that submit button. So in this case, you will enter twice that submission. Maybe
Yeah,
the
Rabil, you can resort to that. You can resubmit the file, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're in doubt.
Okay.
Rabil?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. And let's talk about the research essay. So, your research essay is like the most important assignment for this course. It's 40% of the whole grade. And with the research essay, we're going to simulate your research proposal writing. So the purpose of this task is for you to get practice and to learn structured writing in English. We're going to talk about the handout, about the research structure. On Moodle, you have that handout. Let me send it to your group. Right, so this is the handouts that we're going to discuss just now. I'm also sending the link to this Zoom chat. Could you please open it? And we're going to discuss the structure. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Right. So, first of all, your research essay. Your research essay is going to be an essay where you would describe some problem or some research question connected to your research field. Okay, basically it can be any problem, any question, any task. All right. So what you want to do is to read several sources. Okay, you will have to read several sources. It's the minimum number of sources that you will have to read is 5. So you find 5 articles or books or any other sources on something that you're interested in, like, I don't know, on cybersecurity or AI. Okay, and you read those 5 sources. Okay, and then you make some conclusions as per those sources. Okay, we are not actually interested in the in-depth research within this course. What we're interested in is the structured writing. So you should be able to provide your arguments on some topic, and you should be able to support your arguments appropriately. Now, if you take a look at the structure, you will see that there will be 3 parts to your essay. There will be an introduction, which should be 15% of the whole text in terms of words. You will have the body, which should be 75% of the whole text in terms of words. And there will be a conclusion, which is 10% of the whole word or the whole text in terms of words. Also, in the very end, there will be the reference list. The reference list would not be considered a part of the essay structure. It would be just something else. But you have to remember that you'll have to have a reference list on a separate page, and that reference should be as per IEEE. Your reference list should contain at least 5 sources. Now, let's take a look at each part in detail. So let's start with the introduction. With the introduction, you have to introduce your topic and you will have to produce a thesis statement. Now, the thesis statement is basically the contents of your essay in one sentence. So in the thesis statement, you have to say what you're going to write about. You'll have to present your topic. You will have to say what is your position on the question. And you have to provide 3 main ideas that support your position. Okay? And your thesis statement should be 1 to 2 sentences. We'll take a look at the sample. We'll take a look at the research essay sample very soon. Okay, and you will be able to identify those elements. So we're just concentrating on this structure right now. So the introduction should have the so-called building sentences. The maximum number of those sentences is 4. The purpose for those building sentences is to provide the content, the context for your research writing. So the introduction should have building sentences and your thesis statement. Now, your thesis statement is very important. If you don't have your thesis statement, chances are that you would fail the assignment. Now, this is the introduction. As I said, it should be 15% of the whole text. We're not going to be very strict and very serious about the percentage. If your percentage is like 13% or 17% of the whole text, it would be accepted. But that 15% is, you know, is just the figure that you want to reach. Okay. Now the next part is body. Your body will have 3 paragraphs. Each paragraph should be around 25% of the whole text. So your body paragraph should be balanced. So that they should be more or less of the same length. Once again, this figure is for orientation purposes. Now let's take a look at the structure of a body paragraph. There will be 3 paragraphs, and each paragraph will have the same structure. Now, with your body paragraph, you'll have to start with the topic sentence. Okay, for your topic sentence, you will have to restate one of the 3 main ideas from the thesis statement. Okay, then you will have to provide you'll have to provide 2 supporting points. So your supporting point proves your position. Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Here we have the thesis statement and the writer's position.
Mm-hmm.
So like this position, you have to kind of like prove that what you say is true or not true.
Totally, yes. So go ahead.
At this point, you have to gather all the information which supports your position. What if it's like an experiment which is not yet conducted? It could be a hypothesis, maybe, of some sort.
It could be a hypothesis. See, we're not requiring the actual results of your research, okay? Because this is English. Mm-hmm. So what you might do, you might want to do some literature review.
Of some sort, okay.
Like you have your hypothesis, okay, and you could try to prove your hypothesis with some literature.
Not into depth, though. Just
no, because
intuitively some of the concepts and
right, because I believe obviously your PhD studies are not over yet, okay? You're just in process. So, I mean, requiring the in-depth research would be requiring for you to provide your PhD thesis here. But it's just the English examination. We want to make sure that you can produce a structured, logical text. And we assume that once you can produce that, you will also be okay with your PhD thesis, because you will be able to follow the structure, and you will be able to specify your thesis, and you will be able to provide your arguments for your thesis.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Anyway, back to the body paragraph. So you got your topic sentence, and you have to prove your topic sentence, your position, in 2 ways. Now, there's a very important thing for you to remember. Your topic sentence should match one of the main ideas supporting the position that were expressed in your thesis statement. Now, this is what makes the structure of your writing logical. Okay? Now, this is a very important thing to remember. So, for your body paragraph, you're providing your topic sentence, which has to be supported in 2 ways. Okay? And for every supporting point, you have to provide 1 or 2 details. Now, details will give some extra support, some examples for your supporting point. So a detail is a fact, statistics, anecdote, or expert opinion that provides some examples on your supporting point. So basically with details, you're showing that you were right about your position. Next, you have to conclude your body paragraph with a concluding sentence. And with the concluding sentence, you will have to restate the main idea from the topic sentence. So once again, you're speaking about the same idea, showing that you've proven your position. Okay, so you can either restate your main idea, or you can summarize those 2 supporting points. The important thing is that you cannot simply copy and paste the topic sentence or the supporting points. You'll have to rephrase them. You'll have to use different structures and different words to restate your main idea and your position. And also, your concluding sentence, your topic sentence, and one of the ideas from the thesis statement, they should match. The phrasing should be different, but the meaning should be the same. Please ask me questions about the body of your research essay. Okay, we'll take a look at the example very shortly. Another important thing is transitions. See, there is the requirement, start with a relevant transition, start with an appropriate transition, okay? So you'll have to use transitions. And if you go to Moodle, you will see handout 3. Let me send the link to you. You will see handout 3, and handout 3 is the list of the transitions grouped by their meaning. So this list of the transitions, those transitions would be mandatory. So those transitions, they would add to the logic of your text. Therefore, they are mandatory. And transitions, they also increase readability of your text. So please pay special attention to the transitions. Let's move on to the conclusion.
Professor.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just a second. I have a question. These transitions are recommended to be used in text only, or we can use them also as part of speech when we are delivering our presentation?
It depends. It depends on the transition, actually.
But they can be used or they cannot be used. I mean, some of them, of course.
Okay, here's the deal. Some of the transitions, those transitions, they have got different degree of formality. Okay, so you have to remember that some of the transitions can only be used in speaking. Some of the transitions can only be used in writing. For example, when you deliver your presentation, I would not recommend you to use transitions like furthermore or nevertheless, because you know those are long and those are mainly used in writing for writing your texts. Okay, so those are rather long or rather formal, so you might want to use those in writing. Okay, so instead of furthermore, you can use what is more for your presentation, for example.
Okay,
and basically the rule here would be use shorter phrases for your presentation, use longer phrases for your writing. Like instead of nevertheless, you're right, nevertheless, but you say still.
Okay, and another thing is it recommendable also to avoid phrasal verbs when delivering the speech?
Delivering the speech, no. Phrasal verbs should be avoided in writing.
Exactly. In writing, yes, but delivering the speech, can we use them, or it's also not recommendable?
No, I mean, yes, you can use, and it's recommendable to use phrasal verbs because phrasal
in the
verbs
speech
are, when you're speaking, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that because you know phrasal verbs is like a marker of the conversational style.
Thank you.
So it's better to use phrasal verbs. It's better to say phrasal verbs, but to write non-phrasal verbs.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Right, okay. Conclusion then. It's 10% of the whole text. As you can see, conclusion is like the smallest part of the essay. But it's probably the easiest one because of the structure. So for your conclusion, you'll have to restate the thesis. So you will have to restate the thesis from the introduction. So basically, you would have to say the same thing, but in different words. Then you'll have to summarize the body paragraphs. So you should have 3 body paragraphs, and you'll have to summarize those. So that summary, that conclusion summary, will have to match the topic sentences, the 3 topic sentences from your 3 body paragraphs. And you will have to provide the final thought. So this is like the your last chance to send your message to your reader, to say something strong that would stick in your reader's memory. And of course, there are transitions. There should be transitions. You will have to use appropriate transitions, and for appropriate transitions, you can refer to the list of the transitions that I've just sent to you. And an important thing is that I'm not going to give you the word count. All right, there will be no word count on this assignment, but there will be requirements in terms of number of paragraphs. You will have to provide 5 paragraphs for your essay, okay? And you will also have to provide a readable and concise text. So in this text, you will have to follow the effective academic writing rules that we talked about. And you also have to demonstrate the ability to successfully paraphrase and summarize. You will have to use your sources, but there will be no plagiarism, because your essay will have to go through Turnitin, and if Turnitin flags plagiarism or at least similarity, which is over 17%, your essay will not be graded, and you will have to resubmit your essay, and you will be given 25% penalty for the late submission. So please pay special attention to paraphrasing and to non-plagiarizing. Now, please ask me questions.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
You have markers here in the document to the number of sentences.
Mm-hmm.
But there's quite a lot of things that we have to express in 1-2 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of not able to use short sentences, or it's just so is it requirement or just a marker for us for the number of sentences?
Right. It is a requirement. So what you will have to do is to get oriented with the upper limit. Like, for example, for building sentences, you can have 3 to 4 sentences. So you should not be writing more than 4 sentences. Okay, that's number one. Number two, as for short and long sentences, you can use both. Okay, because if you use only short sentences in your writing would be perceived as primitive. But if you use only long sentences in your writing would be non-readable. So you might want to alternate those. And did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, please ask me some other questions. Right. What I want you to do now is to go to Moodle and to find this sample research essay. This is the actual essay that my student wrote last semester. It's a first-year student, as a matter of fact. And let me send the link to the Zoom chat as well. That's the one. Right. What I want you to do is to take a look at that A research essay and try to locate all the elements from the handout structure. Do you understand the task? I'm giving you 10 minutes for that.
Can you please repeat like the task again?
What I want you to do is to follow the link, download the sample. Can you see the sample on screen?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So what I want you to do is to download this sample, okay? Take a look at that and match the elements from the actual writing to the structure. For example, let's take a look at the introduction. So this is the introduction, okay? If you take a look at the last sentence of the introduction, so facial recognition algorithms seem to be an improper primary method to use in attendance recording because of complex deployment, weakness in the long run, and entity recognition issues. you would see that the last sentence here is the thesis statement. Okay, the topic of the whole thing is facial recognition. So this is the topic. Now, what's the position of the author? The position of the author is that facial recognition algorithms seem to be an improper primary method. I mean, to use for attendance recording. This is what the author is trying to say. This is what the writer is saying, okay? Now, the next three parts, because of complex deployment, weakness in the long run, and entry recognition issues. So the writer provides like 3 reasons why facial recognition should not be used as primary method for attendance recording. So this is the thesis statement. If you take a look at all the other text in the beginning of the introduction, you will see that this is the building sentence. Basically, those sentences, they provide the context. Okay? Now, if you scroll down, you will see the body paragraphs. Okay? Each body paragraph is marked with an appropriate transition, as you can see. And you've got the concluding paragraph. What I want you to do is to take a look at those paragraphs and try to locate all the elements from the research structure. Like, try to locate supporting point, topic sentence, concluding sentence, the restatement of the thesis, and so on. Please also pay attention to the reference list. There's an IEEE reference here. Your minimum is 5 references. Now this guy has got 9. Yeah, I got a message from Ruslan. He hasn't access to Moodle. And is it possible to add an essay to the chat? Yeah, let me send the chat to Ruslan too. So, do you understand the task?
Yes.
Yeah, I understand we will not be able to finish the task completely, but at least start it, okay? And if you have some questions in the process, feel free to ask me those. And Ruslan, I'm going to Ruslan, I'm going to send the sample to you now.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Okay. Right. So this is a sample, and this is the structure. And those are the transitions. Ruslan, the files are in the chat now, in Telegram chat.
Okay, I've got. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, guys, please stop where you are. Have you got any questions so far?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
We have not to use figures or tables in our essay. We should consider this.
Excuse me, could you speak up? Because
we shouldn't use figures or tables in our essay.
you can use figures. We call it statistics. Yeah, we will talk about that on Monday, about providing your arguments.
So in this,
that's okay. Yes. Totally. Basically, you can use whatever you have, like the results of the experiments, if you have those, but you'll have to provide the you can use the results of your experiments if you have published those. So that's what I'm saying. Was I able to answer your question?
Yes.
All right. Any other questions so far? Okay, let's talk about your home task then. First of all, please continue with the model essay. In your own homes, in the safety of your own homes, please analyze the essay, compare the essay and the structure. Please familiarize yourself with the ways your research essay can be written. Okay, think of any question, and if you have those questions, be sure to ask those questions to me on Monday. And on Monday, we will continue talking about your research essay, and we'll talk about arguments, about expressing your arguments in English and in writing. That's number one. Yeah, go ahead.
This research we're going to write, this text, is due when? Monday?
No, it's not due Monday. You can please turn to the syllabus. The syllabus is on Moodle. I don't really remember the exact dates. But it's definitely not due Monday.
Okay.
So it will be a step-by-step process. We're starting with the general structure now. Then we will talk about arguments, selecting arguments. Then we'll talk about how to write your introduction specifically. Okay, then you will actually write the introduction. Okay, the first draft of your introduction. Then you will get your introduction peer reviewed. So you will review each other's introduction. Okay, and then we'll do the same with the 3 body paragraphs, and you will do the same with the conclusion. Okay, so I will tell you how to write the body paragraphs and how to write the conclusion, and you'll write your draft. You will get it peer reviewed. Then you will have your final draft. You'll peer review that. I will provide you with the research essay checklist, and only after that you will get your final draft, which you will submit for grading. For the exact date, please refer to the syllabus. I just don't remember it.
Okay. It's better.
Right. Okay, and for your next Thursday, it's a new vocabulary. The vocabulary, the glossary, the academic vocabulary glossary 3 is on Moodle. All right, the exercises, the new exercises are on Moodle 2. Okay, and the deadline is the beginning of the next class, next Thursday class. So the procedure will be the same. You will also have the quiz, and we'll also discuss the exercises. Ruslan, I will send the information to you via I will send those through your personal message to you, through your Telegram personal message, okay? But Ruslan, try to get access to Moodle as soon as possible.
I'm going to solve this problem today.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Are you saying that you do not need to get those files to your personal Telegram message?
Please send me because it depends on IT service.
All right,
to
cool.
solve.
Cool, will do. Will do. All right, they'll be all for today. Please ask me questions.
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's not about this class. I text you in Telegram, but I didn't get any answers, and that's why could I ask you now, or it should be individually? The question about I missed Monday's class. It's because my colleague from mobile robotics class asked me to help him because every first year PhD student should be as a TA second. That's why he asked me immediately to help him to give a practice lessons for master students.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why just my practice lesson started from 4:30, and I was waiting just first 30 minutes, and I watched the video and presentation, but I actually didn't I didn't get your classes from 4:30, and that's why I lost 2 points. And the question is, would it be possible to accept my absent Monday's lesson as a valid execute or not? Because I lost just 2 points fully, but I was first 30 minutes in this class and watched the video and others.
Right, I guess
I'm a little bit worried actually.
Right, under the circumstances, I guess I could give you, I could mark you excused for that class.
Thank you, because I actually I didn't write you before because my TA asked me just help me because he has some problems or issues, and so I just I give this class immediately, and that's why I skipped this class. Monday's class.
I understand it was an emergency. And by the way,
Yeah,
sorry about not answering your message.
Oh, it's okay.
I guess it got lost somewhere because I get really tons of messages from my students.
You're busy.
Sorry about that.
I know about you.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Right. Any other questions?
Yes, regarding home assignment 5. About regarding summarizing an article. We should summarizing a paper of our related to our research in 1-2 paragraph or 1 paragraph, and as much as we can.
Well, preferably your summary should be 1 paragraph. So
okay. All parts of we should summarizing like an abstract of the paper.
Yeah, an abstract totally. Make it short and snappy. Please ask me some other questions.
Professor,
yeah, go ahead.
Is the anti-plagiarism mechanism going to be available for us in advance to check exactly our draft before submitting it?
Yes, it will. Yes. You will submit your drafts. I mean,
in order to change it in case we have some.
Right. Totally. After all the peer review, all the peer review, and before submitting your final draft to me for grading, you will submit it to turn it in.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, then this class is over. Thank you so much, and I will see you Monday. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.